Hello everybody, this is Braxwolf again, and today we're going to be looking at the red line of the new Helm's Deep Captain skills. And I'll be honest, this is Borwolf. If you've never seen my captain before, this is Braxwolf's older brother. And he's my secondary character, and I'm about 5 levels into the new content, so I'm starting to get a handle on how these captain skills work. Figured I'd go ahead and throw a video out there just to show what I've learned. First of all, let's go ahead and look at what the red tree looks like. Red tree is called Lead the Charge, and it's basically mostly single target DPS. The first tier here starts out with a React to Battle. It increases the critical chance of Devastating Blow, Light of Lindell, Pressing Attack, and Routing Cry damage, plus 5% Devastating Blow, Light of Lindell, Pressing Attack, and Routing Cry critical chance. So damage and critical chance increases. I think you'll see with the red line bonuses, most of them are critical chance and damage buffs. It's interesting because the captain doesn't feel a lot different than it used to me, because I used to use the red line pre-Helm's Deep, and since most of the things in the tree have to do with buffs to damage and critical chance, it doesn't really feel like there's a whole lot different other than maybe the order that you use the skills in. I know there's one new skill here, Standard of War, that we'll get to in a second. Deafening Shouts is also in the first tier of the red tree, increases light type damage by 6% when you've got it ranked up to 3. Martial Prowess increases melee damage and attack speed. Make Them Bleed increases bleed damage, so your skills with bleeds on them, like Cutting Attack. Hardened Heart increases critical hit damage of melee skills while in battle hardened state, so more melee skill critical damage when you're in battle hardened. Telling Mark, 1 point gets you the Telling Mark, which also increases incoming damage on your foes. You can mark a target with Telling Mark. I know a lot of people are who used to play captains are not happy that they lost the ability to use all the marks at the same time. These other marks now appear in the other trees. They're in the second tier, so it is going to be possible to get to them if you do your points right, I believe, but it's going to be hard. I don't think it's going to be that possible to get all 3, at least at this point. Penetrating Cry, 15% Routing Cry attack speed buff. Arterial Strikes, melee critical chance increase. Time of Need, which is an old skill from the captain, does a few different things. It puts your captain in a battle ready state. It costs 90 power. Used to cost quite a bit of morale, so it wasn't really worth using that often, especially if you were in a point where your captain was already taking a lot of damage. But now it does gives you an enemy defeat response, and it increases your melee tactical damage and decreases your attack duration, melee damage, tactical damage, and melee skills, and adds to your melee skills critical magnitude. Advantageous Attack. Shadow's Lament triggers additional light damage when used on a Telling Mark target. Grievous Wounds, 8% grievous wound damage. Restraint, decreases power cost of damaging skills. Heightened Allies, 40% Herald and Archer damage. Impactful Blows, two-handed sword damage, two-handed axe damage, so your two-handed weapons get a damage increase with this. Here's your Standard of War. This is an interesting new bit. You can have a standard equipped, but you can also, in this line, place the Standard of War separate from that. So you can have the damage, you can have the buffs from a specific standard, like the Standard of War that you can equip, the Standard of Hope, or the Standard of Victory. But you can also place this Standard of War with a skill, and it increases your melee damage, your rain damage, and your tactical damage. Fellowship of the Blade gives your Fellowship a portion of the benefit from Blade Brother skills. So when you have your Blade Brother placed on someone and you're in a Fellowship, they can have some of the benefits of that Blade Brother as well. Vital Stroke decreases the Grave Wound cooldown and increases Grave Wound damage over time, critical magnitude. The capstone for the red line is Oathbreaker Shame, which is the skill that we had before as captains. It was a legendary skill before, a legendary trait skill before, and now it's the capstone. It increases incoming damage on your target by 35%. Now to go over to the specialization over here. First tier of the specialization is Readied Blade. Shadow's Lament grants a battle ready state. So using your Shadow's Lament skill triggers battle ready. Cutting Edge. Cutting Attack causes you to deal additional critical damage for a short time, so it increases your crit chance yet again. Elendil's Fortune. Blade of Elendil causes your next Shadow's Lament to deal 20% more damage. So if you can remember to do them in that order, Blade of Elendil and then Shadow's Lament, you're going to deal even more damage with Shadow's Lament. Lacerate is an interesting one. Grave Wound will apply a bleed on targets in a small area when your cutting attack bleed is present. So it increases your Captain Bleed skill damage as well. So hit cutting attack first and then Lacerate. Blade Brother's Call. Call out to your Shield Brother, linking your actions, or Blade Brother in this case. When one hits, the other's damage is increased. Make sure to keep that rolling as often as possible, whenever it pops up. Blessing of the Blade. You gain the benefits of your Blade Brother skills. So not only are you giving the buffs to your Blade Brother, but you're also benefiting from those at the same time. And the Master of War critical hits with Inspire and Shadow's Lament cause you to and your Blade Brother's next melee or ranged skill to crit. Banner of War grants allies a stacking critical rating buff when they use skills. I'm not exactly sure what that means, other than I guess if they have a skill that increases their critical rating, that the Banner of War will allow that to stack. If you know what that means, go ahead and leave me a comment, and I'd be happy to understand that a little bit better. So captains can deal out quite a bit of damage. One thing that is a good little tip here with the captains is that it seems as though you can only equip, like if you're an Oathbreaker type user and you want to run with an Oathbreaker Herald, but you also like the standard buffs, you can actually run with both. Just equip your Oathbreaker first, like I just did, and then call him. And there's my Oathbreaker. And then just re-equip your standard that you want to have the buff from. That way you can gain the benefits of the buff from the standard, because I don't believe the Oathbreaker actually gives you any buffs for calling him. He just helps killing guys. So this way you kind of get the best of both worlds. Now let's go out and find some guys to demonstrate these skills on. Here we're at the entrance of this orc camp here, and there's quite a bit of orcs in here. I got into, I wouldn't say trouble yesterday in here, but I had a lot of fun beating down orcs. Don't forget to put your Blade Brother skill on your ally before you go into battle. Just about did there. Now let's go ahead and pop a little Blade Brother action and mark this guy, and we'll take these two orcs with some of these captain skills. Maybe we can get all three of these guys. Standard of war playing fast. You can see that stacking damage. On this guy. These guys are really damn. AoE there. pretty much that. You saw I did some combinations there with the Lendel's Blade, Shadow's Lament. I did a cutting attack and grave wound combination for the bleed. I never did get around to popping this 2 arms. Go ahead and we'll mark this guy up here, this ugly archer, and maybe we'll go ahead and give this guy Shadow's Lament. Increase the damage on both of them. Standard of War. And he disarmed me. Guess I'll just beat you down with my fist if you do that. As you can see, the captains with Redline are really pretty kick butt. They do a lot of nice things. But again, it doesn't really feel that different. And I think the reason for that is because I've only really got maybe 2 new skills. Maybe this fighting withdrawal, like this is remove stun and knockdown is a new one, but that's not, I mean, that's not, I don't consider that really a combat skill. It doesn't do damage. But Standard of War is about the only kind of new twist to the combat. I'm still hitting the same, about 3 or 4 skills most of the time. Well, I'd say maybe 6 with the captain because of the battle defeat responses. But you've got Grave Wound, Sure Strike, Cutting Attack, Shadow's Lament, Blade of Elendil, and then your 2 defeat response, Devastating Blow, and Pressing Attacks. And when it comes up, the Standard of War is the new one. But you know, these few down here are the ones that you hit most of the time. And I think that's probably people's biggest complaint is it doesn't really seem like the captain got much. It seemed like there was a lot taken away. You see most of the things on my skill bar up here, these are all consumables here. And these are standards and my archer and my oathbreaker up here. So really if you removed all of those shortcuts, the skill bar is pretty anemic. Now, I will say I haven't tried to trade anything but red with my captain so far. So it's possible that some of these other trait lines feel a little bit more different. But to me, the red line doesn't feel different other than there's a few skills that I used to pop every now and then that now exist in other lines. And that I can't get to. I will say Last Stand for me will be one that's missed. It really did save my skin a few times pre-Helm's Deep. And so really going to miss not being able to pop that and stay undefeated for some period of time. Anyway, that is my rundown of the red line for captains. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment. Go ahead and subscribe if you enjoy these types of videos. I'll try and get some more out. Perhaps I will run in the tanking line or healing of Hands of Healing line. What's the other one called? Hands of Healing, Leader of Men. That's the tanking one. And maybe we'll get some more videos out there at some point. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.